Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book, The Blood-Dimmed Tide, the second book in the Nightingale and the Falcon trilogy by Stephen Aryan. I was sent the first book by the publisher, Angry Robot Books, a couple months ago and decided to read it and didn't really know what it was going to be like, and I loved it. This is one of my top books of the year. Seriously, it's that good. And then I got so excited. I was like, I have to read the sequel, and so I read the sequel, and I loved this as well. This series is basically a historical fiction that has elements of the fantastical in it. There is one character in this series who has fantastic, and his name's Temujin, and he has fantastical abilities and tendencies. But for the majority of the book, it is just a historical fiction book about the Mongolian Empire as it expanded into the Middle East, and it is about the various wars and civil wars happening between the various elements of the Mongolian Empire, and about how the other empires around it, like the Catholic empires in Europe, and how the Muslim empires in the Middle East were reacting to the Mongols. And so it is just a terrific historical fiction series. It makes learning about the Mongols so interesting. Now, I knew most of this history. Some of it I actually decided to research after reading the first book, and I was like really fascinated by it. And of course, some of the the details of this book, some of the character interactions are fake because the author had to make it into a novel. So some things are made up, and of course the magic in the book is made up entirely. But a lot of the characters, a lot of the major events of the book are basically historically accurate. He may have fudged the timeline a little bit, but basically they follow a historical accuracy that's really fascinating. And so I just love reading this because not only is it historical, it's also just interesting. It's political. It's this great jockeying for power, and it's all centered around this man named Hulagu, who is the head of the Ante, I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Middle East portion of the Mongol Empire. He's not in charge of all of it, he's just in charge of this part. And basically, everybody hates him. Everybody obeys him and fears him and respects him, but everybody hates him. And so you are following several characters who all want to basically kill Hulagu and stop the Mongolian Empire. They want to either free the Persians or free the Arabians or whoever. And it's just so fascinating that the book, the main character of the book is Hulagu. He only has like 2 or 3 point of view chapters in the entire book. Almost the entire book is told from other characters' perspectives who want to kill and get rid of Hulagu, and characters who hate Hulagu, but he is the main character. And that's just a very fascinating concept. He's throughout the book because other characters are interacting with him, but he is the main character. You have characters like Kokachin, who is one of his brides, who is basically gone rogue, and in this book she is forced by his main wife to try to hunt down one of their sons who went rogue, Temujin. Temujin is one of the sons who has some magical powers and has gone AWOL and is believed to be conspiring with enemies of Hulagu. And then you also have the character of Kaivan, who is a Persian mercenary soldier who basically, because he inadvertently saved Hulagu, he is now one of Hulagu's generals and top advisors. And so everybody wants to, all those main characters, plus some others that you're following, like Esma and Layla and a few others, everybody wants to kill Hulagu. So it's the whole book could be retitled "Who's Gonna Kill Hulagu?" So it's really interesting to find out what's going to be the result of this. And so as I'm just reading this, I'm so hooked to find out what happens. And it was such a breeze of a read. I read it in like 2 sittings. It was such a great book. And it's a tad bit shorter, but it's basically the same length as the first book, The Judas Blossom. And I think that I think The Judas Blossom held a handful of things a little bit better, but I mean they're both excellent, amazing, top tier, top 10 books of the year for me. So I think that this was just just an excellent read. And I want to make a comment on the cover, because I actually had one person's comment that they loved the cover. I do not like this cover. I do not like the first cover. I like that they match, but it's very floral, and I think that this cover is more, despite the fact that this one has the soldiers on there and this one has the horsemen on there, the cavalry. I think that this is more likely to appeal to a more feminine, to a more female audience. But I think the content of the book is very much something that guys would enjoy. That historical, political stuff guys would enjoy. There's some stuff in the book, particularly Kokachin's story, I think would be really resonant with women readers, female readers. So I understand why you would market it to them. But I think the majority of the book is, I think, very well suited for male readers. But it's unfortunate that this cover design is just not made with male readers in mind, I don't think. I was actually worried that this was a form of romantasy when I first saw the books on shelves. That's what I initially thought. The third book, the Sea of Sorrows, or The Sorrow of the Sea, comes out next May, and I will be reading that on release and reviewing it. It's one of my top, most anticipated reads. And if the third book sticks a landing, which I have evidence, based off of the first two books that it will, if it sticks the landing, this will go in my top fantasy or historical fiction or both series of all time. It's just that good. It's hard to categorize it, because it's categorized as fantasy, but it feels more of like you're reading a historical fiction that has fantastical elements. So it's hard to categorize. But whichever one it's going in, it's going in the top 10 certainly of either category, because it's just that good. So I would give this like a 9.3 out of 10. I think I gave the first one like a 9.5, but still, I mean, that's you're talking about the best of the best here. So if you've read The Blood-Dimmed Tide by Stephen Aryan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have you read any of his other books? Do you enjoy them? Let me know your thoughts on those as well. And what other historical fiction with a tad of fantasy in there should I read? I saw several people compare him to David Gemmell, and that makes me think maybe I should read David Gemmell. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.